Buckle up, Central Texas. It's that time of year again. The Lone Star Gridiron Network is proud to present the Central Texas Huddle with your host, Mike Mahurin, at the mic. This is the time when the lights shine brighter, the crowds roar louder, and every game feels like a battle. Whether it's for a district title, a state championship, or simply to claim bragging rights for another year against the rival school across town. From Cisco to Madisonville, Three Rivers to Brady, and all teams from 6A Giants all the way down to 1A, our Central Texas teams are gearing up to give it their all on the field for their fans. Just imagine the thrill of that first touchdown, the excitement of a game-winning play, and the camaraderie that brings our communities together. This isn't just a high school football podcast. This is the continuing story of Friday Night Lights in Texas. And whether you're cheering from the stands or tuning in from home, this season promises unforgettable moments and heart-pounding action. So, grab your jerseys, paint your faces, and get ready to support your favorite Central Texas high school football teams. Let's make the 2024 Central Texas High School Football Season 1 for the history books. Stay tuned each week for the new report, because we're going to bring you all the highlights, interviews, and behind-the-scenes stories right here. Get ready, Central Texas. High school football is back, and it's going to be bigger and better than ever. So huddle up, and let's go!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Central Texas Huddle podcast. I'm your host, Mike Mahurin on the mic, and this week's show will feature several of the key games from last week's action, including teams in all 6 classifications in the Central Texas region. We also have an amazing interview to share from Cedar Park head coach Michael Quintero while he was coming off the field immediately following his team's upset of 6A powerhouse Austin Vandegrift by a score of 49-46. We'll get to all the scores in that interview really quickly, but first we have to recognize our sponsors. The Central Texas Huddle podcast is sponsored by HAP Insurance Agency in College Station, Texas. HAP Insurance is your one-stop independent health insurance agency for individual health insurance, Medicare, and small group benefits programs. They make shopping for health insurance simple, and with open enrollment for 2025 beginning in mid-October, it's time to get your appointments set up to beat the rush. Just like all the thousands of individuals and small businesses across Texas that have partnered with HAP Insurance Agency already will tell you, there's just nothing like being happy with your health insurance. If you'd like to make an appointment, give HAP Insurance Agency a call at 972-897-0814, or you can email them at hapinsuranceagency@gmail.com. That's hapinsuranceagency, all one word, at gmail.com.
Hey, did you play Texas high school football? If you did, you're part of an elite group, the Brotherhood of Texas High School Football. All football players, past and present, who have ever suited up in the Lone Star State are eligible. Go to LoneStarGridiron.com/brotherhood. And thank you for the part you played in the greatest sport in the greatest state.
Now we'll go through some of the selected matchups for Week 2, which was Friday, September 6th, throughout Central Texas. First off, in 1A, we have the Iredell Dragons convincingly beating the Covington Owls by a score of 54-8. Then we have Abbott and Bynum. Abbott is about 15 minutes up Farm to Market Road, 1242 to reach Bynum. But even though it was only about a 15-minute trip between the two towns, I'm sure Abbott loved being on the road again, just like their native son, Willie Nelson, for another blowout win. Abbott took down Bynum by a score of 60-8, and I think that's the second week in a row that Abbott has put up 60 points or more against an opponent. So they're kind of a juggernaut to keep an eye on in 1A. Next up in 2A matchups, we had the Hearn Eagles getting shut out by Burton's Panthers in a super low-scoring affair, 6-0. Burton over Hearn. Then we had an exciting game between the Groveton Indians, and the Trinity Tigers, and Trinity pulled that out by a point. Trinity 33, Groveton 32, and unfortunately that was the Indians' second straight loss at home this season. So hopefully they'll have a chance to get it turned around at their next game. Last game we're going to look at are Goldthwaite's Eagles and the Center Point Pirates. Now, usually it's the Pirates that are known for stealing loot from unsuspecting travelers, but it was Goldthwaite that traveled to Center Point last week to take the treasure from the Pirates last Friday night. They hung 62 points on Center Point, and the Pirates, unfortunately, were only able to muster up 6 points. So 62-6 for Goldthwaite, and hopefully Center Point has a little better luck this coming week. In 3A action, we had the Elkhart Elks taking the Warren Warriors by a score of 51-7. And then also we had Hondo, the Owls of Hondo, whipping up on the Wildcats of Carrizo Springs by a score of 40-6. So a little lopsided there, but hopefully Carrizo Springs has a better outing in their next game. Next up, we have a couple of 4A games to highlight. First one is the Salado Eagles taking on Lampasas, the Badgers and the Eagles. Lampasas wins by a convincing margin, 49 to Salado's 30. And then in other 4A matchups, we had the China Springs Cougars that were able to take down the 5A Bastrop Bears by a score of 27-24. So that's China Spring over Bastrop, a 4A beaten up on a 5A. So 3 points. It's still a victory for China Spring, and they can take that one and work forward on their season with that. Before we get to the last scores of games that we were tracking for this week, we're going to go to that interview that I mentioned in the opening with head coach Michael Quintero of Cedar Park, who's going to have a few things to say about his team's upset of 6A powerhouse Austin Vandegrift.
Coach, after you had lost 3 straight to Vandegrift, you had the emotional loss last week. What does this win mean for you this week?
Well, the win's good for our team because it gives us confidence moving forward. You know, that's what we've talked about. That's what we've talked about all last week. Is just look, we got to let what's happened go and move forward. This is the biggest game all week we have, so we got to go out and we got to do the things. We got to correct the things and play well and do the things right that we didn't do right last week. And the kids did that tonight.
What do you say about you guys being able to capitalize on Vandegrift's mistakes tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the game. That's what I told our kids is if we get opportunities, we got to capitalize on them, and we got to limit our mistakes. That was the biggest thing that hurt us last week, is we had opportunities to put the game away and we just didn't. And I thought our kids tonight, for the most part, we minimized some of the mistakes that we made the week before, so it helped.
You're right about Trey Hill played like a man on fire tonight. What do you say about his performance?
I'm going to start with the O-line. The O-line blocked well tonight for him. It starts up there. I challenge those guys. But, you know, when you give Trey space and you get blocking for him, he's going to make plays. He turned some things that weren't there into something. That's just the kid he is. I mean, he's just so talented, and he works hard. His work ethic is there's nobody outworks him. That's it.
What do you say about David Cooper's performance?
David's growing up every week. I mean, it's good. It's another reason why we schedule these preseason games the way we do, because people think we're crazy, but we got to grow up. And if we put our kids in these situations, it helps us down the line. But David's just getting better. He's gaining more confidence, and his teammates are trusting him. He's trusting his abilities.
What was your range of emotions when the guy Deshaun Morgan got that interception and was called back for?
Oh man, I was like, not again. Not again. I really was. I was like, this can't be happening. But God's got a plan. It is what it is. But it worked out for us.
What's basically you're looking to work on going into the game against Huntsville next week?
We just got to keep moving forward. We have work ethic's got to stay the same, and the mistakes that we made tonight, we've got to correct those things. We got to go. We got to be students of the game this week. We got to look at film, and we got to watch film with a critical eye. We got to get better.
Coach, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Looking to boost your company's marketing? Look no further than Fresh MediaWorks. Podcasting is the best way to promote your brand and increase your customer base. You can create your own show, be a guest on other podcasts, or advertise on existing podcasts to reach a valuable audience. Don't wait. Start elevating your marketing game today with Fresh MediaWorks. Call now, 713-269-4620, or find us online at freshmediaworks.com/podcasting.
So I hope you enjoyed that interview with head coach Michael Quintero of Cedar Park. He was, you can tell, he was pretty excited to get the win against Vandegrift. That's a quality win for their program, and I'm sure that'll help them build and move forward as the season progresses on the strength of that win. That's a big confidence builder for them. Okay, in 5A, we have a couple of games to talk about. One is the Bryan Rudder Rangers versus El Campo's Ricebirds. Bryan was able to pull out a victory over El Campo on that one, 21-17. And then in another 5A versus 6A matchup, we had College Station A&M consolidated against the Forney Jackrabbits, the Tigers against the Jackrabbits. I actually went to this game last Friday, and mainly because one of our friends has a daughter who's the Bengal Bells drill team captain this year. So we wanted to see her perform at halftime, and I have to admit I had an interest in checking out Kelvion Riggins of Forney, who is the number one linebacker prospect for the class of 2025, and he's already verbally committed to A&M, but we know what verbal commitments are like. I mean, I'm sure his recruitment can still be open. So I was kind of interested in seeing how he'd do, and what I will say about him is he's a little undersized at 200 pounds at this point, but he is definitely got some wheels. He's got incredible speed. I saw him do backside chase downs on a couple of runs where they ran away from him, and he was able to get on and tackle downfield just simply because he has jets for feet. However, when we left at halftime, Forney was up by a score of 34-21 over A&M Consolidated, and again, I really didn't have a rooting interest in there. But imagine my surprise when I opened up the paper on Saturday morning, or actually opened up my app on my phone and checked out the score. And it turns out A&M Consolidated won that game by a point, 35-34. And it got me thinking about another game that I went to, but this one was a long time ago. It was when I was 13 years old, and I went to the 1974 Cowboys-Redskins game at Texas Stadium on Thanksgiving Day. And for those of you old enough to remember that one, that was the one where Roger Staubach was playing quarterback for the Cowboys, and he ended up getting a concussion. And when he did that, they had to bring in their second string quarterback for the day, a guy named Clint Longley, and nobody had ever heard of him, and we just kind of figured, they're doomed. I mean, they were down by about 2 touchdowns at that point. Well, I was on the bus riding back home, listening to the game, and wouldn't you know it, that was the game that Clint Longley threw like 3 touchdown passes, including one, I believe, in the last 2 minutes, to come back, and as I kid you not, the final score was the Cowboys 35 and the Redskins 34. Now, I'm 63 years old, so that game's almost 50 years ago for me. So I figure, I mean, I usually don't leave games early, but I figure I just made a mistake for the second time in 50 years, and I guess I'll learn from that and won't do it again. So anyway, I just wanted to share that because I thought that was pretty coincidental, and again, kind of a dumb move on my part. I missed a great comeback by A&M Consolidated. So anyway, let's move on to 6A to wrap it up for this week. I have two games that I was focusing on. First one is, you've heard this before, but Cedar Park 49, Vandegrift 46. And I guess we'll just leave that there. And you've heard the winning coach Michael Quintero with his broadcast, and I guess we can just move on to the next one. The last game we're looking at is Huntsville versus Bryan. The Hornets versus the Vikings. About all I can say is that Bryan traveled to Huntsville, and they were hoping, I guess, for the first road win of the year, but ultimately they got incarcerated by the Hornets. The Hornets beat them 49-24. Yes, 49-24. So, Bryan, hopefully you'll be taking your lumps on that one and learning from it, and hopefully you will be getting better as the season goes on. And Huntsville, congratulations on a great win. So we'll stop there for a moment, and we'll focus on some of next week's games to watch, or actually this week's games to watch on Friday the 13th. Going to be, I got a feeling there's going to be some upsets this week on Friday the 13th with all the games that are coming on. First off, in 6A, we have Alamo Heights at New Braunfels Canyon, the Mules and the Cougars. Now the Cougars are 24-point underdogs to the Mules. Alamo Heights is a perennial 6A powerhouse out of San Antonio, and they're coming into this game 2-0. But I wouldn't necessarily want to discount the Canyon Cougars' chances against them. I mean, again, you never know what could happen on Friday the 13th. Next in 6A, we're going to see what Cedar Park can do again. They're going up to Round Rock to play the Dragons, and Round Rock is favored by 14 points over Cedar Park. I don't know that they're ranked or anything, but I know that Austin Vandegrift was ranked when Cedar Park took them down last week. But anyway, we'll look to see if there can be two upsets in a row by Cedar Park. All right, moving over to 5A. We'll stick with College Station. But this time we're talking about the College Station High School Cougars, who are going to be traveling to Austin to take on the Austin Anderson Trojans. Now, the Trojans have they're about a 4-touchdown underdog, and given that College Station is number 4 in the 5A Division II rankings, you would think that's a pretty solid one for College Station. Well, let's just see what happens, because again, Friday the 13th, don't know what's going to happen. And since I didn't love A&M Consolidated enough to watch them through the whole game last week, I'm gonna spotlight them for next week as well. They have to go to Pflugerville to take on the Pflugerville Weiss Wolves. I don't think there's much of a line on that. In fact, I think it's just probably a pick 'em, because Consol is the 8th ranked team, and Pflugerville's the 9th ranked team in 5A Division II. So seems pretty evenly matched, and we'll just see who comes through next time. Lastly, in 4A, you've got number 3 in 4A Division II, Wimberley, traveling to number 8 in 4A Division I, Austin LBJ. Wimberley is favored by less than a field goal on this, so but anyway, again, that's close enough to me to say, perhaps a ranked team playing at home might be able to just get the job done against a higher ranked opponent. I don't know. We'll see next week. And then lastly, the number 8 in 4A Division II, Madisonville Mustangs, are actually going to be playing a 3A team. But this is not just any 3A team. It's the number 1 ranked in 3A Division I, Malakoff Tigers. Now, Malakoff is projected, to be not going to be able to win this one. But it is a home game. They are number one in their division in 3A. And, stranger things have happened. So let's just see what happens when we get back together next week. That's going to be all I've got for this week. And we will hopefully have lots of exciting games to report on that are coming up this Friday the 13th. And all I can say is just hope that y'all have a safe and blessed week. I would ask you to possibly remember the 9/11 tragedy in your prayers today, and just think about what happened to our nation 23 years ago today. So anyway, hopefully that's a situation we never have to deal with as a nation again. So anyway, again, this is your host, Mike Mahurin from the Central Texas Huddle, signing off from the mic this week, and I look forward to meeting up with you again next week. And everybody have a great week, and hope all your teams win. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.